white shirts on the pitch, running fast through the night. Every heart beating loud under floodlit sky bright. So to London stand strong, in the stands they belong. Voices echo like thunder, to the club they sing along. Up in Spurs we arise, eyes on the prize. Victory in sight with all our might. King's fire in his eyes, glory's what he seeks. With every goal he flies, rising to new peaks. From the lake to far and wide, with the pride of the fight. On this journey we'll ride, with our passion burning bright. Up in Spurs we arise, eyes on the prize. Victory in sight with all our might. The pride of the fight. On this journey we'll ride, with our passion burning bright. Up in Spurs we arise, eyes on the prize. Victory in sight with all our might. With all our might. With all our might.
Hi, hang on a minute. This is like a United dodgy takeover, like the Glazers taking those. It's like a leverage takeover here at the channel by United fans. They're coming in. They're putting debt against this channel's name. Like, this is ridiculous. Come on, we can't afford the interest, mate. We can't afford the interest. Yeah, welcome to THFC till I die. Home at Tottenham, Tottenham past and present, under the great tutelage of Mr. Poster No Clue. Who hasn't got a clue? Who spent the whole first half watching Tottenham play absolutely shit, spent a lot of the second half watching Tottenham play shit, and then he decided to do something about it. And then suddenly Tottenham, why hey, came out of nowhere and we still lost the game. As you see across the bottom of the screen, we've got all the full-time scores. We've got Brentford 1, Everton 1, United win 3-2. So I know Colin and Kev will be happy. We've got Forest 0, Arsenal 0, and then we lose 1-0 to Man City. They came.
Lego Head.
Yeah, Lego Head should be sacked along with Mr. Poster No Clue. And he is Mr. No Clue. I'm sorry. I am sorry. We did the match. I'm going to work a few people in. We're going to about 15-20 minutes, guys, and then we will leave it there. And we're back tomorrow with more in depth in the game. We're going to talk about other stuff as well. So let's see who's in the chat. We've got Mr. Straight in. He says, "We're staying up. We're staying up. United are staying up." And Gixie and me are singing, "We're in the Premier League. We're in the Premier League for another season." And then Wayne singing it loud that we're shit and we know we are.
Rumour has it that the reason Daniel Levy signed the club is because they refused to give a participation trophy.
Yeah, that's true. We've got Lee shouting, United. See, he's gotten all happy. Big up the Wayne. Said we had chance the second half. Yes, we did. But that starting front three was weak. Odegaard looks good. Lively Tell was just has a way to go yet. Johnson's still a prick. Yeah, big up. 4 minutes in and we've been demonetized already. Wayne Bonner. Brennan is Dan James special, way out of his depth. I still think I like Brennan Johnson, so I will have his back. I always will do. Big up to Wayne. Arsenal drew. The Kings are the bottle and have done it again. They have. Big up to Lee. Says he's getting sacked in the morning. I'm taking bets. Big up to Tequila, my brother. Big up. It says Ange ain't going anywhere. I do believe that, actually. Taking bigger losses than this one. Hiya, Wayne. We got Wayne. Oh, hell no. Give Arteta a lifetime contract. Haven't laughed as much in my life. It's the only bright thing tonight, actually, about that Arsenal drawing 0-0 with Forest. Big up, Tequila. How are you doing? Yeah, well, listen, all our love and support is with you, Tequila. It really is. Well, our thoughts and prayers are with you, brother. So we're hoping you are okay. Where do you want to start very quick? Do you want to start Man United? We'll get that out of the way before we start debating the Tottenham show we just watched. So what happened at Old Trafford? Just really do rub it in.
We started the game after the left phalange scored a goal. For those that don't get the reference, it's a reference to Friends and Phoebe, who talked about the left phalange. There's a player called Phalange that plays for Ipswich. He actually got a double today at Old Trafford. I suppose the reality is it was one where you got the blood pressure up and down depending on what. I think it's a feeling Spurs fans are very familiar with because there's highs, there's lows, and they're usually in 5-minute periods. But I suppose it's nothing to get excited about. It's Ipswich Town. They're one of the favourite three to go down. And I suppose when you look at the effect on the table that result has had, Manchester United are on 33 points as a result of that. We still have conceded 6 more goals than we've scored, which is absolutely atrocious. We're 16 points ahead of relegation, and we're 34 points behind those red people from Scouserland, which is absolutely atrocious. But look, we'll take the results. There's a big clear out needed, and as you said, tomorrow there'll be a lot of hard facts and hard truth spoken. But look, I'll take the 3 points. But why like, in what world would you imagine that Tottenham 13th, 53 goals scored, mind you, 39 goals conceded, the same as us, that we'd be 13th and 14th respectively in the Premier League?
Yeah,
that for clubs of our size is unforgivable.
It's not good enough. It's not. It is. It's not good enough. I mean, I got the league table up here. I mean, you look at the games. Everton won, Brentford won. That point, I think, saves Everton for this season. I think. I think 30. I don't think it's 40 points this year. I think it's 33 points saves you this year. I think, if my maths would be right. Would you think around 30 points saves you?
So Ipswich could technically get another 33 points, which would bring them to 50. But they're not, clearly.
No. So would you say you say West Ham is probably safe?
West Ham they probably need another couple of points, but actually they have a game in hand. I'd say the fight at the moment is which one of the two of Wolves, Ipswich and Leicester go down.
Yeah, I think so. So really 30 points is your safety mark. So West Ham are safe. We're on 33. But if you look at it another way, we're only 10 points behind Chelsea. Between Chelsea and Tottenham and Man United, it's very tightly compacted. No, we're not. We're not 10 points. Sorry, we're 10 points behind
13.
Bournemouth.
Yeah, we're
13 points behind Chelsea. We're 10 points behind Bournemouth. It's very tightly compacted. We've all got to play each other. All got to play one another. There will be drop points. Tottenham could go on another run. So could Man United. 10 games left. It's going to be an interesting end of the season because I think, look, for me, the team of the season, for me, is Nottingham Forest. I think they will finish in top 4. I can't see them falling out of that. And it makes the point that Nuno, as Tottenham's manager, we got rid of him quickly. That manager hasn't got a clue. He hasn't got a clue. And look what he's doing at Nottingham Forest.
Taking them to the verge of Champions League football.
Yeah. This isn't, look, I have to praise Tequila here. I have to give him his due. Tequila very early wants Ange out, and I understand why. And I respected his decision, but I was so blinded by the Ange I want Ange to do well. And I suppose it was the same with you. I think when managers that you wanted to do well, you seem to focus on. I want them to. It's like tunnel vision. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You screen out the evidence that's in front of you, and you only look at the evidence that you want to see. So you don't look at the evidence, the proper evidence around there, but you're looking at what you want to see. It's like a corrupt cop or a corrupt investigator, miscarriage of justice. You try to fit the evidence into how you want it to look. And a club of this size, any other manager would have been sacked by now. And I don't get why Ange Postecoglou's not been sacked yet. Tonight, first half performance, I mean, from a Tottenham point of view, I know it was bad, but you're an independent football fan tonight. How bad was that first half performance? Because from my view, that was unacceptable. That was unacceptable.
It was like I watched two different teams. The first half, it was rudderless. There was no fluency in the attack. City weren't worried about the Spurs attack in the first half, and they kind of attacked with reckless abandon.
Yeah.
And fortunately for Tottenham in that first half, they only bagged one goal, thanks in part by the fabulous performance by the Tottenham goalkeeper.
Yeah.
I don't understand why there wasn't a change made in the first 30 minutes. I really don't, because you could clearly see that there was something awry and something needed to change. And he continued with the same broken attack. Like, I know you could argue a lot about the injuries that you've suffered throughout the season, that your main goalkeeper missed a chunk of time, that you had a patchwork defence because you're playing lads out of position. But for me, looking at that lineup, and again, I know you could say captain hindsight and all the rest of it, given the 8 days that's between this game and the next game, there was absolutely no need for Son and Kula not to be on that pitch unless there was a medical reason for it.
There's 8 days between now and the next game, isn't there? And it's just absolutely. I'm angry over this. I am so angry that it's a game. Somebody said to me earlier, I said to him, all games are important between now and the end of the season. To Ange, it seems like all our eggs are in the European basket. You can't play the Premier League like that because teams will just gobble you up and throw you out the other side.
But even if you were prioritising European competition, that's fair enough. And I'd say grand if the game was on Saturday.
Yeah.
But the game's not on Saturday or Sunday.
No.
It's on next Thursday. 8 days' time.
Look, Man City got a game at the weekend. You've got a game at the weekend. And then you got a game next Thursday. So you could understand Amarin making, if this was Amarin and you were playing Man City tonight and you put out a lineup that we put out, you could understand it because you would understand we've got a game Saturday, we've got a game next Thursday, so he's got to rotate the squad. You get that. But we don't have a game on Saturday.
I'll be honest with you, I would actually be firing Amarin from a cannon if he rested the big players against City.
Yeah.
And say it was the City situation, we were playing Fulham as we are on Sunday. If anything, I'd have said the logical thing would be that you'd rotate out on Sunday and spring them from the bench if you had to. Because City, put it in the position of it's Arsenal instead of City. That's your London rivals.
Yeah.
I would imagine you would have the pitchforks and the fiery lanterns outside of the Tottenham Stadium if he'd done that against Arsenal. If he did not start Kulusevski and Son.
Yeah.
And there's no reason why City should have been treated any different. City, Arsenal, Liverpool, United, Chelsea, they're all teams that your full team, your best available squad, should be starting that game for you.
Yeah. Look, I agree with Carl. I'm not getting angry anymore. Life's too short. And it is life's too short. I get it. I'm just disappointed in the way that we. I'm very disappointed with the way Ange picked the team tonight, and I was so up for this game because you go in this roller coaster of we've beaten the clubs 5 times. We could have made a clean sweep. He had a chance tonight, but if you look at United, if you look at the other clubs around, it seems like I just want the season over and done with now. I don't know. I do. I just want it done and dusted. I felt this when we had Conte and we lost to AC Milan. I just want it done and dusted. What's keeping me going is the people in the chat. It is the people that I work with and doing this channel because I love doing this for people out there. I love working and I love putting stuff out, content out, like the show the other night I did with the breaking news on the takeover. That gives me a bigger buzz. And then we start again next season. We dust ourselves down. We've got the summer content coming up, and you're joining me for a few shows now, more, which is going to be great. As well with Colin and Tequila's in the background, be helping me out with advice and that. And I'm very much on the process of look, what happens now. You can't change it. It's been a shit season. I think you just got to roll with it now. You just got to go with it, and you got to come to some realization that the season's over for us. There's nothing we can go for unless we get to a Europa League final, and that ain't gonna happen. Ange Postecoglou, what we were discussing during the watch along, why is he still here? Yep. And we sort of come to the same conclusion, something to do with the takeover. There's no point sacking him. Does Levy tonight have to make a decision? If he is selling up, does he have to make one last hurrah, if you know what I mean? I'm going to make one last signing, one last decision here, and it's going to be a big one. If you were Levy tonight, what would you be thinking?
I'm going to be honest with you. You need to look at what is left on the table. There's Europa League charge, and there's still a chance to get into European places, even though it might be Conference League. But it's still a chance to get into those spots. There is a concept known as a caretaker manager, and it can be utilised. And you got to assess with Ange and the way things are going, is there any chance of some sort of kick in the final stretch from his management team? And if you're saying no, then you're obliged to take a no, it can go pear-shaped. You mightn't get any sort of return from doing it, but you're left with no other option other than to sack him and put in a temporary manager, whoever that may be. Like, I know we've had a lot of joking in the WhatsApp group about Mr. Gareth Southgate and temporary management, but in terms of 6 months, or not even 6 months, what are we, 3 months? Is it the worst thing in the world to maybe take a different look at someone to take a temporary hold of a club? Because I think at this stage, there's no upside to Ange remaining. I think he's untenable. Yeah. Now, when managers are under pressure at Manchester United, I always used to rage against my own fan base, not holding the players accountable. But I don't think there's any player in the squad that's unwilling. Some of them might be unable, but they're not unwilling to play for Tottenham's badge. So I think the answer to your question is, if Levy has any love for Tottenham Hotspur Football Club, Ange Postecoglou will not be in charge of you in the European fixture.
You think he'd be gone before next Thursday?
If Levy has any love left for you, he needs to be gone. If Levy has given up on the club, he'll remain.
I mean, look, we discussed it before we went on the watch along about the takeover and what we broke last night and what I broke last night from my source. They give me now. I've got a little bit of flack of few people, and I was saying to you, I'm going to love it when this actually does happen. And I can say I told you so, because this channel does spit out facts. It does. We were the first to bring you Harry Kane moving. We were the first to bring you Ange Postecoglou coming. We were the first. I think I broke the night before Arnie Slot getting the Liverpool job. I think back, and maybe Colin can put in the chat. Maybe Colin can put in the chat for me what our credentials are of getting new stuff right. I look at it this way. Look, Ange won't go because the players are behind him, and that's what I've been told by sources. That's what it's out there in the media. The players are behind him. But when does a chairman or an owner take it above among himself that, okay, I'm going to take this away from the players? This has to stop. We know there's been a leave out movement. We know that we had the protest there a couple of weekends ago. I'm trying to get Change for Tottenham on, who I'm very angry with at the moment because they keep ignoring my DMs. I've DM'd them twice. They did get back to me on X saying that, our messages go into a different place. Well, just because we're a spoiled channel, there's no need to ignore us. We're still a Tottenham channel and we still want change too. So, can you please reply? And I put off by doing this, but I'm just angry that they've treated us with a little bit of disrespect, that they go on bigger channels, but they won't come onto our little channel. And we all want change, but what does change look like? Change for me looks like new owners, new manager, new philosophy, new way looking forward. We know the takeover is going to happen. So do the new owners have a man in charge? Does that mean Ryan Mason for the rest of the season then? In your thinking, in your sort of how you're looking at it? Because that first half tonight, me said it, Kev, within 10 minutes, this isn't working. This is not working. If we could see it, I'm not even a trained football tactician. I know you're in the game. Colin's been in the game a lot, like you have. You're both in the game, so you both know what you're talking about. I don't. As I always say, I'm a short little fat Irishman from Wexford talking shite. But if I can even see it, and you can see it, Colin can see it, how come a Premier League manager that's paid a lot of money can't even see it? Please tell me, where in this universe does it not figure with anyone that this is not working?
Absolutely. Can I just list a few names to you, Dermo? Zidane, available. Jurgen Xavi, available. Allegri, available. Mancini, available. Obviously, Ten Hag is available. Johan Low, available. Like, there's a few nice names there that if you do want to appoint a long-term contract, I'd imagine the older gentleman would probably be willing to take a 3-month contract.
Yeah, I know. It angers me because if you look at Manchester United tonight, you got a good win against Ipswich Town, right? We love our clubs. We do love our football clubs, and some people can sort of park it to one side. I'm not built like that. For me, when it's a football season and when I know I've got a job to do, I give it 110%. That is my thought process. Yeah, I can park it when I come off stream, go and spend time with Mrs. Tron, have a laugh, and she'll ask me how the game gone, and I would tell her. And she'll say, I told you to lose. Mrs. Tron is great at predicting Tottenham. She should be putting money on. I keep telling her, bet on Tottenham because she always gets the results right. But I can park it. But when I come to this computer screen where I am and I start putting shows together, it really hurts me to see where we are. And it hurts me to see the pain that you and Colin are going through as well. Football is a bloody funny sport. It's such an emotional, driven sport. 1 minute you're up in the air, next minute you're down in the dumps. If you're looking at it from a Tottenham and Man United point of view, where we both want our owners out, where does this leave our massive football clubs? Because they are massive. They've got history to be proud of. Where do we go now? We're going to unite as channels, your channel and you and Colin's channel, to really push the point over. Change has to happen. But if you got a manager that's been there 18 months, doesn't know what he's doing, right? And you got Amarin, who's only been there 6 months. That you can't really. There's people asking him to be sacked, which I think is ridiculous, by the way, because I don't think he's been given a fair crack at the whip.
He hasn't.
Is Levy sort of damned if he do and damned if he doesn't, really? Because there's fans that want him out anyway. There's fans that want Ange out. Never wanted him here from the beginning. And Tequila was and I love talking to Tequila about it because Tequila always made very good points about it. He said, Dermo, he said it to me one night, and I think I've got this right. He said, Dermo, that there's more to life than football, which there is. But football sometimes, our clubs mean a lot to us. They're our second loves. They're our second families, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And I don't think Daniel Levy gets that. These people are messing with the clubs we love.
Here's the thing for me, Dermot, as a point in history that I think was significant for Tottenham Hotspur. You let one of the best strikers in the Premier League go to Bayern Munich, and it was because he wanted to chase trophies and whatnot. And whatever about the end of that summer transfer window, you could be forgiven for not replacing him there because you were left with no time. But he never really properly replaced Harry Kane's goal-scoring powers. Like, Dan Solanke is a nice little player. He does a job for you.
Yeah.
But he's not Harry Kane. And I think the second thing that was kind of apparent at the end of last season was Son's age was catching up to him. Now, Son, he has the lungs of a workhorse. He's bleeding Tottenham through and through. But there was no management of ensuring that there was a bit of assistance put in for Son. And that was your two most significant attacking threats. Yeah. And even with all that considered, he still scored 59 goals this season.
Yeah.
But it's just, at times, things are going wrong. And when I look at that Tottenham squad, like, there's probably a few players that I wouldn't like to be starters. Like, Destiny Udogie is probably a good bench player. I don't think he's a starter for me. You've got your centre-back problems. But I think when you're looking at the squad that Tottenham have, they shouldn't be in the position that they are.
No.
Notwithstanding.
No, I agree with you.
And
I agree with you.
When you think of it that way and you think of, okay, they've scored 59 goals, then you kind of go, okay, it's not the players downing tools, like what has happened at Manchester United multiple times. So now you have to look at the manager. And we said it multiple times in the stream that the attack that he went with, if it was not functioning, he needed to make an early change. He didn't.
Yeah. No.
He was 1-0 down going into the start of the second half. There should have been changes at the very least at the start of the second half. There wasn't. He did get a hold of the game after Bentancur could have called the referee to make a decision on the second yellow, but the referee kept the card in his pocket, and he kind of took control for a period of time after that. And then he decided to make not one, not two, not three, but 4 simultaneous changes. And it was clear to see that, with the exception of Bentancur having to go off because of the yellow, that the squad that came on at that point was better than the squad that started. And you'd have to wonder if the shape of the game would have kind of taken the road that it did if that team started.
Yeah. I agree. I mean, this is the lineup tonight. I mean, very quickly, I'm just going to get your thoughts on it. We are going to differ away from Tottenham. We are going to go through the rest of the Premier League. Big up to Brenny. We're going to talk a little bit about Arsenal. But that is the team that started tonight. Now, where did it... I mean, we will go more depth in this tomorrow night, Kev, but very quickly, where did the selection go wrong? For me, I think Udogie didn't play well. I think Danso wasn't good in the first half. Maddison was useless tonight. Absolutely downright useless. Brennan Johnson was nowhere. He tried, but I don't think he's up to speed with the Premier League yet. Odegaard started coming back from injury. I think the only 2 players that hold their head up any high tonight is Bentancur and Bergville. They're the only two, and Vicario, in my view. The rest of them need to really look at themselves in the mirror. So I would give Vicario, I'll give him a 5. I give Porro a 1. I give Archie Gray a 2. I give Danso a 3. I give Porro and Danso a 3 and Gray a 3. You Doggy a 2. Bergville a 7. I give Bentoncourt a 7. I give James Madison a 4. I give Brendan Johnson a 3. I give Tell a 5 for effort. And I get Odegaard 5 as well, for effort as well. Very quickly, what would your player ratings be? And as I said, we will go through this more properly tomorrow night.
Based on the way he played in the first half and kept you in it, I think Vicario is probably a 7. Your back line then, Poirot and Udogie didn't do much for me. I think they were 3, maybe 4 to stretch. Gray, I'm not going to mark him because he's played out of position. Danzo was a 0 in the first half, even a -1 in the first half. But in the second half, he brought himself right up into 5-6, an average performance. So where I think it went wrong is that front line, the bottom line. Madison, Johnson, Tell, and Obart. If you started Kula, Son, and who else had you in midfield that was available?
We had Basuma, we had Sarr, we had Kulu.
I suppose Kula and Son probably had to be 2 of those out of the 3 from Johnson, Tell, and Obart. And looking at the way he played in the second half, Spence should have started.
Yeah.
But I think you're looking at a manager that's not utilising his tools correctly at this point.
No.
And if he's in charge against AZ Alkmaar and you're struggling, then Dan Levy has to be asked questions as to why he's maintained the status quo. But
does that game become important now? Does that first game in Europe become very important? That if we did lose that and we're sort of out of it by the second leg, do you think that will be the tipping point in his reign at Tottenham, or do you feel he still will be here to the end of the season? Because we know a takeover is happening, and takeovers do happen. You know what happened at Old Trafford, and they will come in with they want their own man in there. So I still think that's why he's still in the job. I still think because of this takeover, he's seen any other manager would have been sacked by now. Daniel Levy's reputation precedes him for doing this. So why is this manager different from all the other managers that were sacked?
It has shades of the Erik ten Hag at the end of last season, about it because he hung on and we were playing dreadful. He had no right to be still in the job, but the FA Cup was kind of keeping him alive. And by some miracle, we turned up and put together a formula that took on City and won the bloody thing. But it was clear from day dot that the new Ineos influence wanted their own man. And if you're looking at Ange, and if you're looking at a critical failure next Thursday night, where there's nothing left on the table, there's absolutely no reason for him to be maintained around there. I suppose you then give it to Mason for the rest of the season, and you say, lads, here's the thing. Our goal now for the rest of the season is to get as high up that table as possible, to acquit ourselves like proper Tottenham players, to give our fans something to shout about coming at the end of the season, and to give them a bit of hope for the start of the following season, when hopefully we'll be under new leadership. Now, my only concern, and I'll talk about it more next show tomorrow, is that there could be an element of the delay that happened at Manchester United, and that it would affect your summer transfer dealings, that it would affect your appointment process for a successor to Ange, and that it could derail next season. So that would be one of my concerns I'll speak about tomorrow. But I think even before the game next Thursday, I think they have to do a threat assessment as to what the rest of the season under Ange looks like, what the pros of maintaining him are, what the cons of maintaining him are, and I suppose if there's a fear within the organisation that stuff won't be in place in the summer, then it probably makes more sense to hold on to him in the period of turbulence then, because you're going to be left with a rotten egg if you don't.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of similarities between Tottenham and Man United. As you said, the end of the Ten Hag era to the end of this era. Look, I agree with Carl. Carl says the difference is Spurs have quality players, just need a manager who's capable of unlocking them. And I agree with that. Big up to David Clark as well. He says Bergville gave the ball away the most tonight. A 7, not a chat. He tried. For me, he tried, but we will get into that more. Carl also says you can argue that Danso and Gray kept out all the city attacks. Yeah, they did. Second half they did. Let's go through it quickly, do the other scores, and then we'll end off there. Let's start with Man United against Ipswich Town, 3-2 to United. How much would this be a boost for you going into your FA Cup tie against Fulham on the weekend? And will it give Amaron a little bit more free space to get what he wants done at Old Trafford?
Here's the take that I have from the Ruben Amorim era in the last 2 games. We were 2-0 down against Everton, and they showed a bit of cojones, a bit of battle, and they went after it and they took a point from it.
Yeah.
The game today was going against us. We went 1-0 down, and we went 2-1 down. We went a man down. Sorry, we went 2-1 up, and then we went 2-all and a man down. But they kept fighting. They kept playing. So there's clearly a belief in the manager amongst the players, because if they didn't believe in him, they would have down tools. So I think it's significant that they're still trying to get results, whereas before they had down tools and the game would have been finished off by the opposition. So I think it's important that we just try and get to the end of the season, maybe get to a cup final if we can, and on the upper half of the table. That's as much as I can hope for this season, the upper half. I do not want us to be in the second half of that table, because that would be just unforgivable. And there's a lot to look at then in the summer in terms of ownership structure, finances, and all that other lovely stuff that I think you, me, Tequila, and Cullum shared a show around the preview last year.
Yeah.
And I don't think there was one bit of actual football talked about. It was all about nearly needing a degree in accountancy it's just not what these channels should be about.
No, they shouldn't be.
Like, there should be an affect we lost and a discussion about it. Dermot throwing a bit of shade towards United, me throwing a bit of shade towards Spurs, and you brawl around that pitch that is the football pitch.
Yeah.
But the one concern I'd have, and again, I'm going to be referencing as a preview the Chelsea takeover, as something that be careful what you wish for. But yeah, United, I'll take the 3 points. We didn't perform a perfect execution of a game plan, but with the sporting fans reaching out on United message boards, they said it got worse before it got better when he inherited the crap that he inherited at Sporting. So I still believe that he can get a job done. But if I'm still talking about this situation this time next year without some form of advancement, we'll be knocking on a different door. Can I just say, though, Everton, under Moyes, have transformed themselves.
They have. They're saved now. They're up to 15th on 32 points now. Actually unbeaten in their last 5 games. They've 3 wins and 3 draws. 6 games now, so unbeaten in the last 6 in the league. Absolutely fantastic. And you have to say, David Moyes has done a fantastic job there. He really has. Big up, but the big one, I think Nottingham Forest, should be team of the season. Drawing 0-0 with Arsenal. I think that's the championship done now, don't you? I think Liverpool won the league now. As hard as that for you, going to say as a Man United fan, and I know Colum's going to find it very hard for him to say it's title number 20 for them.
Yeah.
Last question before we sort of end off on this, Kev, is this Premier League season's been a weird one, hasn't it? It's been an absolute weird one. Everyone's been inconsistent apart from Liverpool.
I'm going to, and I apologise in advance for this, liken it to the crazy season that was Leicester's Premier League win.
Yeah. I agree with you.
All the big clubs started malfunctioning, barring Tottenham Hotspur that year, up until the closing stages. But I think even if Tottenham hadn't fluffed their lines, Leicester didn't really falter. Leicester kind of kept going, and even if kind of Tottenham had kept chugging along, Leicester were still with them. They did nothing wrong in their final phases. But I think that was the last time we saw so many big clubs crap in the bed. And I think, and again, I'd love to know the views of the Tottenham fans that are sitting in the chat. You mentioned Nuno Espirito Santo, a manager that was cast away by Tottenham Hotspur.
Yeah.
Now back in the Premier League. Now basically playing the football that he probably wanted to play with G, with arguably a lesser quality of player.
Yeah.
And getting results. So it does kind of make you wonder, is the sum of the parts more important than a little bit of sparkle?
It's all about organization, isn't it? It's all about getting the right. It don't have to be the greatest team in the world, but you can. If everything falls for you in your way, it will happen. I mean, you look at the top 5: Liverpool, Arsenal, Forest, Man City, Chelsea, Newcastle are up there. Forest, Bournemouth are only are only 4 points off Manchester City in 4th place, by the way. So is Brighton. Fulham are up there in 42. Villa in 10th. No one thought Villa would be in 10th place, by the way, after the season they have. Maybe Champions League has got something to do with that. But it's just you look at Liverpool, 28 games played, 20 wins, 7 draws, 1 defeat, 66 goals scored, 26 against, 40 goal difference, unbeaten in the last 6, 4 wins and 2 draws. Arsenal, look, I've only 3 wins, 2 draws and a defeat. You look at Forest, only 2 wins out of the last 5. That's 2 wins and a draw. You look at Man City, 2 defeats after the last 6. You look at Chelsea, only 3 wins, 3 defeats. Newcastle, the same. It's all every team up and down the league. You look at Villa, only 1 win in their last 6. Every team are so inconsistent. So I think it's been one of those seasons. But as you said, we'll start the show. We're going to finish as we started it. Tottenham and Manchester United should not be where they are in the league, 12th or 13th. We are going to go more in depth in this tomorrow night. Kev is very kindly going to join me now for a few shows every week, which I'm really looking forward to. Really looking forward to get into some really good football talk about Tottenham. He's very knowledgeable about the game. He's very knowledgeable about the finance side of the game as well. So maybe as more of this takeoff and news come in, we can pick this man's clever brain, because that's what he does for a living. He works in the financial world. So the best man for the job is this man. Where can people find you? And sort of preview tomorrow night for us as well, what we're going to be talking about.
Absolutely. So I think tomorrow night we're going to be talking about basically takeovers, the pros and cons of takeovers, where they've benefited, where they've failed. There's a lot to speak about regarding the Arsenal Kroenke takeover, the 2 Chelsea takeovers, the Roman Abramovich era, and now their American ownership, the Manchester United, Woodward and Glazer era, and of course the big news that Tottenham fans will all be interested in, the possible impending Tottenham takeover. And I just wanted to make one quick finishing point on tables. When you look at 40 points at this stage of the season back along, that had a lot of clubs in the bottom half of the table.
Yeah, it did.
So it does show how much underperformance is in this year's Premier League, and maybe we might touch on that tomorrow as well, Dermo.
Yeah, I think
But
we will.
I am excited to come back and talk about all these wonderful topics tomorrow. As to where you can find me at Kerry_Rebel on X. You can find me and hopefully Colm once he comes back from his working life on Man United Spotlight TV in conjunction with Dermot here and the lads at Tottenham Till I Die. And then, of course, you'll be finding me here more often.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this.
Your mic's gone, Derm.
Mute. Unprofessional. A very disappointing night, a disappointing result. But look, we'll dust ourselves down. We've got 8 days before the next game, but we've got lots of stuff coming up. We have Friday, we've got the first ever League of Ireland watch along, which I'm going to start to do every Friday over on our other channel, THFC TID Sports Channel. And then that will be moving over to Big Up TV. Big Up, we're going to move all the stuff over there, that second channel, to Match Day Live. So please like over there. We've got the show tomorrow night with me and Kevin. We've got the Friday night show as well. Saturday, we'll probably come up with something. Sunday, we might take Saturday off, actually. Sunday, we'll have watch-alongs for the FA Cup as well, guys. We will cover the FA Cup 5th round for you. And then, of course, Monday, we're going to gear up for the Europa League. Tuesday, we'll do gear up as well. We'll have a show on Tuesday. I think Kevin's with me next Wednesday and Thursday. So we do the build up to the Europa League on Wednesday. We've got the watch alongs on Thursday, final score, post match on Friday, and we all gear up for the Premier League weekend. Over the weekend, guys, thank you so much for joining me. It's been a great night. Well, I've enjoyed your company. Not the result we wanted. I'm glad half of the channel was happy. The other half of the channel was disappointed. But all our love and prayers are with you, Tequila. As I keep doing this, this is what it means. This is for Tequila. And whatever you do, come on, you Spurs. Don't let us down. Let's win the Europa League. Hashtag trophy for Tequila. That's what I'm ending the shows on now. Come on, you Spurs.
Eyes on the prize.